hope we get some folks interested in the drone program. Dr. Schott?
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting us do this here. I'm Dr. Codd. I'm the judge advocate of this organization. I sit here when we have a meeting once a month, and I'm also the director of mecatx. So basically, what we're doing at this point is finalizing the FAA Drone Awareness Week from last week. It was from the 4th through the 10th. And today was the day that recreational pilots were supposed to take their drones out and fly them. And I'm not sure that they're doing that here in Texas anyway. So what we have is a little bit of a synopsis of everything that should have been covered last week related to drones, so you understand the basics of them, and then also why you need to understand the safety that goes with it. Drones are very valuable in our society. Yeah. Anyway, drones are very valuable in our society, and moving forward, it's a multi-million-dollar business, and by the year 2024, I think it is, it's going to be 100 to 200, I think, new jobs just in the drone world. So we're trying to get a lot of young people ready for that. So what we're going to tend to do here under the American Legion banner is to start a drone club. Okay? There are drone clubs now in schools and different places throughout the world and the United States. So we intend to start one here. We'll probably have another meeting, a little bit less set up than this here. Each month we'll cover a different subject. Obviously, what we need to get ready for is Christmas. People buying drones. I think it was 200,000 or 300,000 drones were bought at one Christmas before last. And the children and the adults need to know the new laws related to that, how to keep the kids safe and how to keep other people safe. So we'll be covering that as the new laws and the new drone technology advances. So hopefully we'll hold that one somewhat before Christmas, a week or two before Christmas, for anybody that intends to buy a drone for their child at Christmas time. So what we want to do today is give you pretty much a bird's eye view of the different levels of drones. So basically we've got here Bob Hill, who's a professional drone pilot, who's got his what's called Part 107, which means you have to take the test, just like being a pilot, and pass the test, and then you can do things commercially. So if you don't do that, you cannot use a drone commercially, which means you can't basically make a penny on it. If you make a penny, then you're commercial, and you've got to go to a different set of rules, and so on. So anyway, Bob's going to talk to us about his experience and what he's done. He lives in Copper's Cove. He's given one class for us before. And the other thing I want you to make sure that you are aware of and realize that what we do, for example, this is going out on the internet, live now. Not only does it go out on the internet, but it goes up on YouTube and other video formats, and people look at our stuff from around the world. On the mecatx, if you look there, I think we have something like 30,000 subscribers. That means the people that follow what we do from around the world. One of the high-tech piece of equipment we've got over there, we made a video a few years ago. The boy is now an engineer. School, he will graduate this year, and he's had 200,000 views on how to put that piece of equipment together. So not only are we teaching a few people here, but we are actually informing and teaching people from around the world at the same time. So keep that in mind, tell people that we do it, and we need people looking at those videos. So Bob, you take it? I'll talk from there to the mic, or can you talk loud?
Well, let's see. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, raise your hand. I guess they heard it. So I'll go without that one. Okay, a couple of quick things in housekeeping. I'm Bob Hill, and I am in fact an old guy. So when I say something, if I say something like I like something or I don't like something, that means that I like something or I don't like something. There's no other meaning to that. I don't like politically correct nonsense.
Well,
So, okay, I'm dressed in orange. Wow, isn't that nice? Look nice, right? Right. The only person out here I'm afraid of is that man right there. He embarrassed me into getting my general license. I've been a technician for umpteen years. He went ahead and made me do it. Anyway, I wear orange when I'm flying. I want to be seen when I'm flying. I want people to know. Maybe I have cones, I didn't bring them in because it was too windy, but I set around my area to distinguish an area that I don't want you coming inside when I'm flying. Because when I'm flying, I'm playing safety. I'm an old safety freak. These things can hurt you. If I hurt myself with this, I'm not gonna be happy. If I hurt somebody else with this, I'm quitting. So you've got to think safety in everything. And you'll probably hear me say that several times during the 20 minutes I'm gonna do it. That's what I do while I'm taking of it. Just take this out, pretend like I know what I'm doing, put it on cloth and put it on my timer. Because I don't want to get fired. I have a time limit. So what I'm going to talk about today is mostly the commercial aspect of flying drones. You already know about the fun side. Now, it's fun when I make money, but I fly just for fun a lot of times too. Okay? The commercial side, I heard someone say, if you make a penny, I'm going, I've done that a little before. In fact, in San Angelo, I was flying, I was licensed at that time, and I was shooting a car show for somebody, 2 or 3 cars specifically, okay? Somebody brought me something to drink, and wouldn't you know it, there was an FAA man watching. He walked over to shoot himself, says, did you pay for that? I said, no, sir. He says, are you licensed? I just smiled, I said, yes, I am. He could have shut me down, okay? That's the only time I've had an FAA inspector even talk to me, okay? So, anyway, if you folks don't mind, I'm gonna sit down up here. Maybe the camera won't be able to see me if I sit, right? Okay. Let me touch these drones to start with. This was my first drone. Okay, this is a toy. Now, it has a camera for it, I just don't have it on this. I did take pictures, the camera was a toy also, but I had fun. I wouldn't fly this outside on a calm day, let alone a day like today. I wouldn't fly these today. This is my workhorse. This drone has bought many a lunch. This drone has paid for itself. This drone bought me this drone, which is much bigger and more advanced. So there is money to be made. We'll do the safety thing first. One of the things you want to do every time you touch the drone to fly it is check it out. When you're flying an actual aircraft, it's called a pre-flight. With an actual aircraft, the manufacturer gives you a checklist and you go through it. There's no checklist for these. Common sense will tell you to make sure the props are on there good and that nothing's broken. You go online, you'll find lots of people who have written up checklists which will guide you through it. Basically, all of them, even the little micros that they fly, you check certain things. Obviously, props. You want to make sure they're not broken and they're attached well. I shouldn't do that, should I? You check all kinds of things. You check your batteries, make sure your batteries are charged. You check your area, you check weather. Those are all the things you'll do before you fly, even if you're not commercial. If you go outside and you're gonna fly in a good plane today, you don't have to go too far to know, I'm not flying today. But if you check that and there's a problem and they come and ask you, you can show them that you did a check, okay? When I'm flying for myself in my backyard, I always call it in and get a weather briefing. My reason being, if I have flyaway and it crashes and causes damage, at least I can show them I checked, the weather was calm. So it's a liability thing. Also, up here, I'm aware that I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it through carelessness, so. All right, let's go ahead and look at the commercial licensing. You already know that if you make money, you need to be commercial. The money doesn't have to be cash money. If you do something and they give you something for it, not cash money, that's commercial. If you take pictures of your own farm to see where you need to go out and put certain chemicals or whatever, that's commercial, because that farm is commercial. The connection is, it's commercial. You need to be licensed. Probably the hardest thing to figure out sometime is, how do you get your drone license? What do you have to do? It can be involved, it can be difficult, but it's not, I shouldn't say difficult. It can be tedious. You study for other things. You have to study for this one. I've already told you, if you're flying for fun, you don't need a license. If you're flying commercially in any way, shape, or form, you need to have a license. And I honestly recommend do it. Get your license, because if you don't, and I know you're flying commercially, and you're not licensed, I'm not your friend, I'll turn you in a heartbeat, because one person go out there and do something like that, and it's gonna change the rules for all of us. We have to be self-policing. Same thing in radio, right, Eric? We need to take care of ourselves and make sure we're legal, because if we don't, the FCC is gonna come in and they're gonna shut us down and take rights away from other people that are using radio. Ways to get your license. You can study on your own. The internet is full of information. You can take a course online if you want. I prefer online because I can do it on my time as many times as I want. You can also go to a certified ground school and do it that way. That's very expensive. It's time consuming, and for some of you, you have to get rides to it. In my case, I'd have to find the time to go do it. So that's it. Getting the license, there's some requirements. One, you gotta be 16. Sorry, Eric. But you still wanna pay attention to this type of stuff and start learning the laws and the rules now, because they're gonna affect you. There's a lot of new rules that came in just recently, is that correct, Doctor? For the recreational flyers. So there's gonna be rules there too. Basically, we can't fly over 400 feet. I don't see why we're going over 200 feet, because most of the work I do is at 200 or less. A lot of my work is up close. If I was doing a farmer's field, I'd be a little bit higher depending on what I was doing. You have to pass a knowledge test, and that's the book work. And there's work to it. You have to study. You have to study, you have to study. I don't like studying, but you have to study. Because when you go and take that test, and that test is not free, by the way, that test is not even cheap. That test is $150 just for the test. If you fail the test, you get one free retake. If you fail that, it's another $150. So you want to study. You want to know what you're doing. There are practice tests you can take all over the internet. The FAA has a site where they have the practice test. Now, they all use the same set of questions, so once you know them, you're good. Doesn't matter where you learn them. But you have to take that test. You also have to have a background check. So transportation people will do that. That's done invisible to you, but it's done when you apply for your license, and they do that. So there's a possibility if you're a bad guy, you won't get the license and they'll know where you live. So the background check, yeah, that's pretty good. And once you have your license, you have to retest every 2 years. You have to, now there's no flying test you take, but they can come up and ask you to fly. They can come up and ask to see your aircraft and see this license and everything else. This one right now is licensed the old-fashioned way. You can't see the registration number anywhere. It's in the battery compartment. This one is right on the back here in the open. I'm going to put them on the outside because that saves a lot of questions should you have an inspector. Now, the FAA isn't the only people that can come and look at your aircraft. Law enforcement, they can come and ask, see your license, your registrations. They can't take your aircraft unless you're doing something extremely stupid, and then, you know. But if you're doing that, you deserve it. Once you have it, you have to keep your license up to date. That's every 24 months. You have to make all of that available to the FAA or law enforcement at their request. Another thing you have to do, these are under the things you have to do when you have a commercial license. If you have an accident and you cause more than $500 damage, you must file a report. If you, like an old man that I know, flew his drone into a tree, yeah, you don't have to file a report. If you dive into the ground and break the drone, you don't have to file a report. You hit something or somebody, you file a report. If there's an injury or damage, $500 more, you have to file a report. It's not a big deal, but that's one of the reasons you want to follow the rules and do your weather briefing, check all, everything around you before you fly. That'll help lessen the problem, if there's a problem. We already talked about the $150, man, that's a scary number, really. After that, though, there's no more money to the FAA. But if you want to fly for business, all kinds of little fees you're gonna have to pay there. You're gonna have to collect sales tax. I'm not gonna tell you all the paperwork involved, but these are the things you have to think of. You're gonna have to pay for advertising and everything else. So you want to do something where something's gonna pay the bills. Okay. Now, as far as, back to the studying, the average person takes about 15 to 20 hours of studying to pass your license. In my case, it took a little bit longer, okay? I didn't feel I was ready. I took the tests, I failed a couple, I went back, restudied. But the studying is very important on that. I told you the FAA has a site, and I like their test because we know the actual questions. Well, everybody else has the same thing. They have this question pool, like in ham radio. If you study the pool of questions, you'll pass the test. So, once you pass the test, it'll take the FAA about 6 to 8 weeks to get your certificate to you. However, you can get a temporary one, which you carry with you. If you have that in your possession, mine is always in one of my cases over there. If you have that with